Georgia, Appalachia, a land of hog hunting, divining rods, and dulcimers, where making moonshine was a fine art, where you planted by the signs, and a quilt was something human. The old ways fast disappearing because the young are leaving, losing touch with the ways of their elders. Young people are leaving school, too.
If you don't go back to school, will you keep working at gas stations?
Yeah, I guess so.
Like so many teenagers everywhere, they're turned off by school. They're bored with a system that teaches them about a life and a time they don't relate to and don't know how to care about. Any job, no matter how menial, seems better than going to school.
Okay, well, let's take a look then. If we decided to do an issue...
Elliot Wigginton, Wig, a young teacher in Rabun Gap, facing disinterest and hostility from his students, decided upon a bold experiment.
One of the best things that happened in my whole high school career was an English teacher taking enough interest in a composition I had written to give it to a literary magazine and get it printed with my name on it. I was flunking out of the Hill School, lost my scholarship and everything, everything was gone. And that one single act turned that whole thing right around.
Why not try to directly involve the students in the process of learning by putting them to work producing a magazine in class?
From the first moment I suggested the idea, the kids were enthusiastic. It gave them a chance to act rather than being acted upon. Now, years later, the magazine index reads like the whole earth catalog of the Appalachian past.
Oxide, fiddler's convention, fingernail polish, firewood, fireplace, fish, flannel, flaxseed, flint, flintlock, flour, substitutes, flower brushes, flowers, fruit gathering, fruit batter.
The magazine is called Foxfire, a name the students plucked from the pages of Huckleberry Finn. Because, Tom said, we got to have some light to dig by, and a lantern makes too much. What we must have was a lot of them rotten chunks that's called Foxfire, and just makes a soft kind of glow when you lay them in a dark place.
Foxfire is entirely researched, written, and produced by Whig students. Much to their surprise, the young people found a wealth of material to write about close to home, among their friends and neighbors.
We're from Foxfire, and we wanted to talk to you about digging the well.
What made you try to dig? Water. Had to have it. How deep is it? Approximately 45 feet, somewhere thereabout.
Did you hit a lot of rock?
Yes, ma'am. On about the first 8 feet, it was rock from there to the bottom.
How many times did you have to dynamite?
Dynamite? Approximately 20 times. Half, 3/4 of a stick, full stick. According to what we thought the load should be.
How many people in here have articles that could conceivably be ready for publication, say in 3 weeks? What about that well thing? What else is involved in that article? What else has to be done?
We wanted to talk to another man about that.
About dowsing? Do you think we could find a dowser? I mean, another one in the next couple of weeks? Your uncle does it? Okay.
How did you determine where to find the well?
We got Mr. Airwood up here to probe it for us with a piece of copper wire. They call it a divining rod. And he walked around here and found where the streams cross. They cross right over the well. There's one comes straight up down the hill, and one comes up the hill and around this way and into the well.
Did you have any doubts, Did you kind of doubt that the wet water might be there? Did you have...
No, I didn't have any doubts that the water was there. It was there, I know, because he's found most of what's in the county anyway.
That's amazing. Do you have any feeling inside when you do that? Do you have a tingling or anything, or just do it?
No.
You just stick it through your palm on the stick?
I've just got to believe that it'll do it.
It'll do it?
And a lot of people don't believe it. I don't believe a man can work it and just believe it.
Is it like a faith in God or anything?
I think that's right. Think one of the students here may have a gift?
Can I try it?
Here, Rose. Get on it, Rose.
Good weird. Tom said I needed the water. And you needed the water, right. Okay. Okay.
Could it be more expensive to drill it?
So, did you think it would be more expensive to drill it?
Get up around 3:30 in the morning, but until you do it, you won't realize what it is going out in the mountains. Cold morning, the sun come up, hear the ravens. It's worth it just to be there on top of the mountains. Whether you catch anything or not, it's worth being out.
Y'all get hogs together, don't you?
Yeah, we hunt together all the time.
And you like to do that?
Yeah.
That's pretty dangerous, isn't it?
Saying is, why, you don't have to be crazy to hog hunt with your head. It is dangerous. The only gun we take to hunting, there's a little 32 that they carry with us. We don't kill unless it's entirely necessary. We catch and time and bring them out alive. But most of the hunting we do now is when people call us, when hogs is destroying crops, cornfields, stuff like that.
Okay, this is the first picture. Then this would have to go here. You know, like the dog looks like that he's eager to catch the hog. And you can't hardly tell what's going on in that picture. But it's the only one we have to show Elvin sitting to get hogs after it.
We need to, like, crop this. Because we don't need all this tree out here. That's just this guy running, you know.
Hog hunting, how to find water and dig a well, painstakingly photographed, researched, and written about by students working in teams. Foxfire began to take shape as the young people discovered a rich and varied folk culture all around them. Skills and a way of life that have passed down from generation to generation only by word of mouth. It was their own heritage they were learning about, and it fascinated them. No longer reluctant students, they're eager to come to school each day to report on what they learned, even to stay after school and work weekends to put the magazine together. In the process, they're learning methods of research, writing, editing, photography, makeup, art and design, retailing, advertising, public speaking, not to mention that old standby grammar.
I'm working on a farm here in Alaska for my room and board, so I can't really afford to pay cash for a subscription. Would you consider a barter bargain? I'll be willing to send the following for a 2-year subscription. 2 ounces of wild Alaskan red raspberry leaves for tea. 2 ounces of wild mint leaves for tea. 2 ounces of wild nettle leaves for tea. Good grief. And he says he'll send them all in plastic bags and clean them fresh as soon as they're ready. And he wants to know if we would accept the terms. What do you think?
Foxfire started out as a modest attempt of one English teacher to reach a few students in a small rural community. Now the magazine reaches all 50 states and 12 foreign countries. Selections from the magazine have appeared in book versions which have become national bestsellers.
The thing that fascinated me about Foxfire when I saw it, and I admire it very much, but the thing that fascinated me about it was, why did you really put it out? I know when I was in high school, the thing that I wanted to do most was get away so I could go downtown and shoot pool. And that was the whole goal of my going to school. So, you know, is Foxfire an excuse to shoot pool for you all, or is it something more than that?
Well, I think it's diverted my attention away from the things that are unimportant, or at least not quite as important as Foxfire is.
It's a good way to learn. Like, not only does it, you know, teach about journalism, but it opens to a lot of other fields and stuff.
When I was in high school, I just really hated it, and I was very bitter that I had to go to school in order to do what I wanted when I didn't like it. And I dropped out of school for 2 years, and then when I came back to Raven Gap and I started working on Foxfire, it gave me a whole new perspective on education.
Now, I think that me and everybody else are able to sit down with their grandparents and talk, discuss things, and the younger people are really able to listen to what they have to say and feel like it's important. And it's helped the older people just as much as the younger people, I think, because before they didn't think we cared about them, and they didn't think that we thought they had anything to say, and now it's changed all of that.
If you had a lot of children around you, what advice would you give them that you think is the most important thing to know?
Well, the first thing I tell them is to always do the right thing. And one thing to do for children is never to do nothing they don't want their mother to know. Now, that's about the best advice you give a child. I mean little children, is to never to do nothing they don't want the mother to know. For 9 times out of 10, 99 out of 100, if you do anything when you're young and that way, your mother will find it out. Yes,
Yeah.
You know that, don't you? Yes, well, that's the best advice I can give a child.
Aunt Erie knows exactly where she is, like in the world. She knows, like, where she is and where she's going, and, you know, where she wants to go. And that's all she wants to be. She just, like, wants to be her, you know. And, like, the wealth of information she has come from, well, you know and believe her because she's been through a whole lifetime. She's learned from, like, her lifetime and her experiences.
She goes on in spite of things that would put me away already.
Another person's Kenny Running that I really like.
Now, right here, you ever see a chair like that? Now, the first thing you do, you saw 4 notches. See that where the notch in the ends? You saw 4 notches.
What kind of notches? You just saw them into the wood like this?
Wide as sheet plank.
Why is it?
About a ½ inch.
Okay.
All right, you take your drill and drill that. You can't drive a nail in there, it'll bend. That's where it's going. Then you nail these 4 posts on. Now that's starting. The only man in the United States makes it. And I ain't got rich yet. I ain't got rich yet.
Not long ago, I was doing an article for a wagon wheel, and on how to make a wagon wheel. Went up to John Conley's, who's a blacksmith up in. The first day we were there, he cut out all the fellas, and he was a little concerned because he had messed up on the pattern somehow in his figure, and he hadn't quite got it right. But we told him that, like, it would be fine just to go on. It really wouldn't mess the wheel up that much, but it was a little bit off. We go back up there the next day, and we noticed that, like, the fellows were all straightened up and everything was fine. He had gone through and, like, remeasured it and cut out a whole new set of fellows and everything just to make it right, because he said, like, everything he had done had always been right. He didn't want it to be any different. And I don't know, now every time I, you know, start to do something that pops into my head, and I all the time think of it. You know, really gives you incentive to go on and do something good.
I saw a need for some old-time stuff that I was brought up with when I was a boy. I'm 81 years old, nearly 81. And when I was a boy, my mother made my clothes on the spinning wheel. And I remembered how the spinning wheel looked, and I went to work to build one. And after I got it built, I found that people was interested in them, and I get orders for them, and I went to build them.
Wow. Do you like the white kind better or the dark kind?
Well, if I was taken, I'd rather have that.
Is that, like, better to wash with?
No, it ain't a bit better. It ain't a bit of different. It's also just like, but it's just the time it's made, you know. Sometimes it's on the new of the moon, sometimes on the old, you know, and everything like that. And if you make it a certain time, it'll make prettier sometimes. Sometimes it'll make not as good.
Well, you think the moon then?
Yeah, the moon has something to do with it, I think, too.
Wow. What do you think?
On the new moon's good for anything, you know. You just put your grease in and your water and your lye, you know, and so you stir it 30 minutes and then it's supposed to be good soap.
How long does it take to harden?
It'll take it till in the morning.
If you had a really good washing machine, would you use that?
If I had a good washing machine, I got that to do it.
And you still don't use it?
Yeah, I don't use it.
But you boil them too?
I wash them out of here and then put them in the Clorox. Yeah, gosh, I couldn't make it without a washing machine. And they may be for some people, but I like to wash like this. Jim asked me when he built this furnace out here, he asked me which I'd rather have, an automatic washer or this. And I said, oh, you can't boil your clothes in an automatic washing machine. And I said, just build me a little wash house and put the furnace in it.
It's related to an ancient instrument. When they talk in the Bible about psalteries and dulcimers, it's something like this. The ancient Persians had an instrument called the sun-tur, which you play with mallets and it's like this. They spread it into Eastern Europe and took it to China. So it's really all over the world. It came to this country, I guess, with Czechs and Poles and Sears and Roebuck put it out and everybody, you know, could get hold of one if they, you know, wanted to send through a mail order. And nowadays, mainly they're just sort of rusting or dusting away in somebody's attic. And a few, you know, young people sort of bringing them back to life, learning how to play them.
Last summer, delegates came to Rabun Gap from as far as Alaska and New Mexico. Indians, blacks, whites, Eskimos, Chicanos. They came because education for most of them has meant an alienation from, even hostility toward who and what they are. Here was an opportunity to explore ways of translating the Foxfire experience to their own cultures. As a result of the workshop, the idea of Foxfire is taking root among the Sioux at Pine Ridge, the Navajos in New Mexico, the oyster fishermen of Maryland, and Puerto Rican Americans in New York City, from the bayous of Louisiana to Alaska.
You peel the bark off of it?
Ideas like Foxfire suggest that school needn't be just a place to pass through and endure.
I think by, like, looking at, like, the individual, like the people we talk to and the older people, we see, like, what's important to them. And, you know, you see that, like, their land and their surroundings and, you know, where they live is what means most to them. And, you know, that's what they hang on to. And
it's just not the same as it used to be. Families don't go over and help other families when they're sick. Things like they used to do, like going in and getting in a person's whole crop and everything. And maybe by putting it down and showing that people used to do that, it shows maybe that we still can do that if we just try a little harder.
People today seem to me more like concerned with themselves and all, you know, schizophrenic about everybody else all the time, looking out for somebody else that's going to do them harm instead of trying to help somebody.
I think it's getting worse then.
Sure.
Do you think these old people provide another way for us to look at ourselves?
Yeah, by talking to them you can see, you know, that there's still hope.
Well, I wouldn't marry that old maid to tell the reason why. Blowing nose and old cornbread and calls and pumpkin pie. Her head is fireplace, he has you shoveled out. Oh, their mule tell you, Miss Lyde, if you could. They ain't got time to kiss you now, I'm busy with my music. Bought my girl a wristwatch, she swallowed it one day. Now she's taking Epsom salt to pass